Eternal Bond up in it.
Those assets available. The more times you roll those dice, and eventually it's going to be a nat 20 for 6. He seems to have uncanny luck when it comes to V. Sensinoblin forcing Paradox to take all of his space away. Might be biting off a little bit more than they can chew right there. The healing wasn't quite available. The invisible boundary is drawn on up, but it's a little bit frustrating when you're the Doctor Strange.
Point, though.
Yeah, oh, they don't really have. Yeah, they don't really have much space on the point off the.
We've all the percentage.
All right, huge armory here for Paradox to try and work with. Foxhound might be a little bit under-resourced for this fight if they try to keep Henkin back in a resible position. For now, Lohe going to be forced off of this high ground. The long-term damage off this Gamma Squid, if it isn't dealt with, is going to be significant. So the Gamma Monstro is, of course, one of the primary targets here. 4-6. There's someone creeping on the right-hand side. I believe that's Bader over there, ready to try.
We're on to Kit Kat, who is so close to Soul Resurgence tier. Strange is even going to be able to block the sedation, and then Foxhound are going to be able to get their own onto Kit Kat, which means a further stall. It has to be a Strange portal. Foxhound are too close to that 100%, but that means that they have so little information about where they're teleporting into.
MJ already being down. That's your primary damage dealer missing now, and I don't think they're going to be up in time to get a second pass through the portal. CrossFit build. Oh, maybe they were looking for a grab through. Great play with a shield there from Sensinoblin to grab out Zerx early and make sure that no healing can be delivered to their corpus thereafter. Sensinoblin feeling a little bit frisky with the Eye of Agamotto. Doesn't want to risk getting pushed back in the midst of the ultimate, though, by the force physics. So it's just making a couple of very audacious leaps towards them. They're more getting these damage boosts all the time as well. Look at all the HP available, though, for the side of Paradox. They've been reinforced by the Freedom Charge. Though it's going to be difficult to deal with here. But instead they move towards the back. CC Moon is 6, unbothered by the Eye of Agamotto. Wants the Invisible Woman and forces the drawing up of the Invisible Boundary towards the back. The damage boost means Zerx can try and carve on through, but it's 6 who's going after and instantly gets frozen on up. However, there's still a second
that Henkin's going to have available for this next fight.
It's going to be so difficult to deal with. Kit Kat needs to be very judicious as to when they deploy the all-important invisible boundary, perhaps to try and isolate someone from the heals in the back. You can see the work on the periphery being done by Lohe and MJD to make sure that 6 can never focus in on these squishier targets elsewhere.
Yeah, 6 doing a very good job as well of keeping his Adam safe right now, dealing with that Psylocke, dealing with the Captain America.
Like Revival, Lohe dragged on in, and 6 easily carves through them with Grota Stern. Getting in close and personal to the Phoenix is not an enviable position, but as Zerx disengages, CrossFit crushes their sentience.
MJD's going to have down to the butterflies, but I don't think Paradox are going to have access to one of their players, because this stall is just, it's so brutal. Kit Kat is going to be able to try and get away.
Doctor ordered. Oh, 6 has fallen down a hole, and he's back up already. Straight away, you can see the regenerative healing factor has been burned. A 6 takes 2, the Sky already falling low. However, there's more than enough healing coming through. The Soul Resurgence and the Soul Link, both in tandem. Kit Kat chomped through once again. 6 is looking... Paradox have decided to take
a lot of the time when we see Cloak and Dagger the most
real house manners.
True, but it's not a full team wipe, and unfortunately though, Paradox is so far forward looking for any potential staggers. Foxhound, despite not TPing to recontest into first, have lost full control of second currently. 3 Kraken Impact.
All they can do is poke and hope. In comes the Venom. Might find themselves exploited by multiple layers of CC. There was an attempt at a pull, but it seems like the Venom hasn't been able to get out scot-free for now. You can see that Henk was actually subbing in to keep this one contested. 6 exactly the same, but gets overextended and taken down by MJD. And while there is a little momentary pause here from the Venom, Henken is feeling optimistic off the back of this. 2 Vanguards afflicted with the culling, but you can't escape from the moon. It rains above you. Oh, that's the bad one, though. 6 is down, and that's a huge amount of staying power gone. Bada hit by everything that Henkin had to offer and then dives inside of the invisible boundary. Zerx unwilling to try and fight inside there with the constant slowing effect, meaning that Foxhound have for a moment given themselves a touch of stability.
It's just a moment though. They're not full repositioning. Zerx is just waiting for this Kraken Impact to land.
My mouth says Juro's nowhere to be seen, and Paradox get it done in record time. 2 minutes still on the clock.
Yeah, Paradox only had to really fight one fight. Granted, it's a very
boost that's available here from the Storm. You can see a Terra Cape come on out momentarily, but the blind is now passed and the danger is gone. Sentinoblin works the outside. The Hand of Khonshu's good to go, but all of them roll forward together. Great call from Paradox to move as a unit. Still, the group is taking a little bit too much damage, and a headshot off the Crescent Blade.
It's not in time to go onto the objective, and with the spawn hole broken, the comp has done its job, and we're going to be seeing 6 swap onto the Phoenix. The question is, does Hankin stay on the Storm for the damage boost?
Well, cool made. Backline dive. Sejuro gets out-pressured here. They might be able to punish Batter for the engagement made. That's a big strangling prison. I think that's 3 squishies inside. Double wall means that the Spore Bomb just carves on through. CrossFit is just ejected from the zone by a spinning kick of MJD. I think there might be room for a stagger here, and indeed, that is going to be absolutely heartbreaking for both the Vanguards. They're going to take a while to reach
the Bionic Hook, and the Groot's down, which means that Foxhound is losing all of the control of space that they just spent 4 ultimates trying to confirm.
Watching my Vanguard roll up towards a double grab, and it's gone. Farewell to Sentinoblin. Double strategist ultimates are available now for Foxhound, which is going to be a significant advantage over Paradox.
True, but MJD with the Kraken Impact can outlast one of them fairly easily, especially the Ensong Inferno. They might be able to find the picks, but no, they go for Strangling Prison combined with Meteor M for the pick potential instead.
Just combining for maximum lethality. Foxhound, they're going to have to get through this last fight with only a singular ultimate, but a stagger at the end would be absolutely marvelous for their chances.
Batter's on the low queue. Hold on a minute, we're back in mid-time. The question is, can they actually set up the portal? Because Foxhound have pushed all the way in front to try and stagger out the Strange to make sure that the portal can't come through.
Oh, yeah, the portal, there was no chance at all with KitKat being staggered there.
The damage.
Teleportation going to be momentarily giving a reprieve to Jazzy, but there's no reprieve from MJD. The disengage is good. Henkin Court is on the outside and decides not to continue their absolute tirade of tyranny. Foxhound, back to this.
That was Psionic Seduction though. So Jazzy now with that Eternal Bond doesn't have to save it for this, which is even worse news for Foxhound to deal with.
Batter strong on the primary fire here with the team, so grouped up, it's easy to get that ultimate charge. Omega Hurricane's good to go, but MJD's already down, forces out a response here in the form of the Eternal Bond, hanging out above it. 6 waits for it to dissipate, banks around towards the back, and there's no interception coming through. But right now the frag feed is filled with red. It's Paradox who reigns supreme off the back of KitKat's sustainability. Man just shows off all of their beauty, and Paradox, a map well chosen and a series brought to 3.
Oh, Batter on this Magneto as well, going to come on through, and Batter shuts down the sustainability, and Paradox get to control the space all over again. Really good place from the Mac.
Yeah, we saw Zerx really showing off some mechanics on the Winter Soldier as well, which certainly was problematic when it came from 6 in the map previous. So we might start seeing these Winter Soldier mirrors be more of an issue to try and deal with it. Although he does come up a little bit more in conjunction with Groot because he's great at displacing Groot. And man, that was so nasty. Catching the mid-jump as well. That was almost a fully charged one from CrossFit, though admittedly not quite as impressive when it's into a Groot hole.
Yeah.
They can really pivot their comp.
His first follow-up as well, so that the Lunar is displaced from the rest of the team. It did come at the cost, however, of Paradox utilizing the portal to get Manjitsu back into that fight as quickly as possible. So Foxhound do have one-sided portal into this next fight. We can see that Batter is going to be taking a more proactive position, currently holding onto that deep left side, which Foxhound used previously, developing the angle with both the Hulk and the Nemo to put more pressure onto the backline and force them into the back room.
Soul Link shares out the damage. I mean, Agamotto seems to get absolutely nothing there from CrossFit. Actually going to be punished for the audacity of giving it an attempt. Sentinoblin ready to become a world breaker themselves. And the world of Paradox is now in distinct danger. Reinforced
rotation from the defenders as MJD does not want to get picked early. Puts the pressure onto the Hulk. We saw the blind come through and it forced the Sentinel to fully disposition out of the fight. No pressure on the Kraken Impact currently.
Oh, the Kraken Impact ready to go in the back. It's so threatening to try and deal with. Hook doesn't get too much. CrossFit still thinking about how to get value out of Asaya Vagamoto. Slowed members are going to have a much harder time reacting to it. CrossFit towards the back once again gets absolutely nothing to Aya Vagamoto's to zero. Manages to resurrect themselves, yes, off the back of a Cocooned Revival. CrossFit takes them out once more, consigning them to oblivion and giving us another 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh my goodness, it was so close to being over, but FXHND with a huge Feast of the Abyss chomp from Sentinel, taking advantage of Paradox's backline, playing in that boxed off position that Zerx was setting up for Comic Revival behind the point and only revived a token few rather than the entire team, because if they team wiped off of the point, they would lose that last tick of percentage that FXHND needed to continue into this map. Paradox now, though, do still have control of this for Magneto to bubble the bucket. As we can see, a strange portal recontest. Zerx should have another soul one for Paradox to be able to try and survive some of this incoming damage from FXHND. And as the Horn of Proteus hits right off of the back of the Eye of Agamotto, and Paradox are wiped.
Look at that play as well coming through as well from Seijuro, using the slow of the invisible boundary of a 35% when it initially hits you to make sure that no one can get out of that AoE.
Straight up catching them, and Paradox, they full give up the Kraken impact charge too. FXHND have gone from barely score invisible boundary. Paradox are so far forward, they have to sacrifice all of their Adams kit plus an invisible boundary of their own to disengage safely.
Jazzy's down. MJD just stays inside of the invisible boundaries as disengaged for FXHND.
Manjitsu gets exiled as well late on. That's going to be broken, but Six is immediately able to lend into all of the incoming damage. The Stranger Shield is about to be shredded, which means that Six is going to have
saved on the Psylocke, just able to pick apart the team as they roll in one by one. This is where Psylocke's at her best, but still, there's no one to share out the damage. It's all on to the Venom, as this is already down. Sentinopoulos doing some weird things in the back, and while you're exiled, you can't contest. All you can do is watch Ratatoska roll on in, so close to oblivion. Opening now, MJD has control of the high ground damage boost coming through from the Storm as well. A big Ironwood wall. What's Manjitsu doing over there, bro? He's a little bit lost, but it's okay because they've managed to crack open the vault where they were holding the Flora Colossus. Paradox with quite the fast first take, and no one's on Strange, so there's going to be no chance to recontest.
That was beautiful. Taking away the high ground angle, forcing FXHND into the retreat to the backside of point. Then Manjitsu comes on through with a Groot wall. Kit Kat goes for the cloak.
So of all things, didn't think I'd get to say that. Casting some Marvel Rivals.
Oh, and they got the stagger as well onto the Hulk, which means that that Vanguard's going to be slower into coming into the fight. CrossFit's got to go for a strange portal. They do at least have the Lunar ultimate to instantly come on through with that survivability, but the Hulk bubble comes on through first. An invisible boundary comes out from Paradox directly onto the objective so they can get the slow into the Winter Soldier mid-Kraken impact cast.
And he couldn't get back to Jazzy's ultimate either. And here comes the Omega Hurricane on top of multiple players all together. They can't stand up to the damage.
They have so little cover, might be able to slow things down.
He will be able to. Manjitsu leading the charge right now, having to be a little bit cautious about potentially being dragged into the abyss. Gets exiled momentarily. You can see that there are duelists playing on both of these off angles right now. There's so much that MJD has to try and keep track of. It's Kit Kat towards the back. Could get a very valuable play off the back of a Terra KP. Slowed inside of the invisible boundary, which means MJD can't escape from Giganto's biomass-driven embrace. Six falls down. Zerx is responsible for that one with a right click as CrossFit might well be cooking an Eye of Agamotto. Has to be worried about the movement of that building. Great Guardian Shield to save Jazzy from the incoming damage of the Meteor M, and there's the building making waves. Sentinel taking down in the back, this time by the Terror Cape itself. The Gamma Squid hasn't yet been dealt with, but eventually the admin gets finished on out here. Manjitsu wondering if it's time to just put the pedal to the metal and deliver the Groot ult.
Oh, the Groot ult can combine as well with either the Storm or the Kraken impact. Paradox on slowing down. They're keeping up the pressure. The Kraken impact forces FXHND to try and run for the spawn doors, but that sends them directly into the 20% off of this next Kraken impact, and with multiple Vanguard bodies on the floor, that's a lot of ultimate charge for the Winter Soldier to start farming. Eternal Bond comes on through from Kit Kat. There's no potential one-sided one-shot, which means the Paradox gets all of the pocket to move forward and pressure the backline. The Vanguards have no form of sustain, and Paradox, they paused momentarily, but that's going to be a full push with 2 minutes 40 in the pocket.
Cosmic fastball throws Wolverine into the midst of all the danger. Vanna tries to get in close and give a little bit of defensive prowess to the remainder of the team. A touch of meat to keep everyone away. But now you have to tap on in if you're a Vanguard and stop the accruing of percentage on this point. MJD's got an angle, but see, the invisible boundary is where he wants to be. The remainder of the team is going to be in there. A fully charged Dark Blast ready to go onto Terra Cape. To the first corner here. In comes... Oh, this is where the ban on the Magneto could be everything, but Banner can't quite connect. Just able to dodge away is Jazzy. So the remainder of the team stay. Oh my god, the level of CC right now is unbelievable. Just everything is levied onto the Doctor Strange. Going after the Luna, a miss on the Trooper's fist. Seijuro has got the moves, he's got the motion, and MJD has lost his hands when he needed them the most.
Paradox really want to try and find a player. Someone does get hooked, and immediately it's going to be aggressive plays from Sentinel, directly putting pressure onto that group.
Good save, CrossFit low, but there should be more than enough healing with 3 strategists on the table here. Seijuro, the disengage might be a little bit hard to try and manage here. Zeus getting up close. The Goddess boost has been deployed. Everyone feeling so much pain at the hands of this damage boost. The Vanguards barely exist. 2 minutes remain as the portal is prepared from Sentinoblin. Pushed back for a moment, ready to receive. MJD from downtown. 3 players afflicted with culling. If any of them fall, we go again and again and again as the Omega Hurricane spins on up a tail that could be languished here by Foxhound. Banner gets nothing off the back of the Meteor M, and Paradox have done everything to try and make this 1-on-1 and done. Foxhound have stayed strong.
Foxhound were able to live off of Jazzy's Fate of Both Worlds. Sentinel is going to have an Eye of Agamotto, but MJD 83% to the next Kraken impact.
Really strong, hanging a drag everyone out. 5 players are stunned by Manjitsu, and the follow-up is good from Zergs. Carves through them with a blade made of 1,000-folded wind. MJD, the last note of his symphony, and Paradox, their song has been sung well. 6 is returning on the Angela, but the power of heaven cannot stand up to the paradox of time itself. The time stream reconstructed, and a victory is born.
8 seconds remaining for Paradox to be able to complete the distance necessary.
Unbelievable. I think that they